First, we'll start just kind of at the beginning in the driver position and go through just a couple things. You have an indicator on there that kind of talks about your lift and what they'll need to do to operate it. So we'll start at the front and then just kind of work our way back. A lot of it's going to be very simplistic because it's all OEM equipment. The only thing we'll really focus on, though, is we'll make sure that you guys understand the proper operation of the lift, how to secure somebody, and then how to use that flip and fold seat properly. All right, so we'll pop on over to the driver front corner. So the first thing you'll notice is right here you've got a interlock system. Okay. That is directly tied to your wheelchair lift. That's going to let you know all the ins and outs of if your wheelchair lift is ready to be operated. If you put the key in the ignition and start the vehicle, you'll notice it'll light up. So a couple things that you'll notice right away. You see the PK means that your vehicle's in park. That's the first requirement. Okay. Second requirement is that the lift has to be, or the lift doors have to be open. Okay. And then you also must set the parking brake. So pull the parking brake up. We got a nice old school, yep. Now that everything's lit up, that will activate your lift. Okay. The other thing that it will do is try to shift the vehicle out of park, and it locks it, so there's no way that if the lift is powered that you're going to be able to get it out of park. Got it. So that is a safety mechanism for your guys, so that in no way, shape, or form are you driving around the track with a lift or somebody sticking out of the back. They frown upon that for safety things. Other than that, the vehicle is going to work very, very standard to your factory OEM Ford Transit. The air conditioning and everything that you have in the buttons on the side here all are going to operate the OEM. Nothing really has changed with that. Even though we've modified the floor system, we kept all the original air conditioning components and heating components for the back. Okay. So nothing changes there for you. As far as for different options on the vehicle, the Transit's pretty basic. You've got your basic radio, you've got your lights over there on the side, and there's not a whole lot else that you guys are probably going to be doing with this during that time. For your rear heating controls, you do have control of it right here. So this is what's going to operate your back for heat and cooling. Okay. All right, so with this all set up, we've got the vehicle in park, we've got the parking brake on. Let's actually move back to the lift and we'll start back there and go through kind of the fun stuff about that. We'll leave it running. All right, so when you have your lift all set up, hit the on switch, and if everything's correct, you'll see your lights power on. That lets you know that your lift is ready. If you want to move these doors out a little bit further too, just hit that yellow button and it'll unhinge and bring the door a bit wider until it clicks in place. Well, actually, it's got a little magnet there, it'll click. There you go. With this lift, it's got a couple safety features. If this vehicle sits for a little bit, the lift can sometimes come a little bit forward, and there's little stow latches that are just kind of hidden right here on the side. So what we always do, the first thing that you want to make sure of is that we always hit the full button just to make sure the lift is all the way up in the home position. If for some reason, if it's been sitting and if those stow latches start to catch, what will happen is you'll go to see the lights and everything on, but when you go to hit it, nothing will happen because it'll be caught in those drift latches on the side. So always fold up into the upright position, and then it's just gravity down by holding the unfold button. Make sure you hold the button until it goes through its entire cycle. Let it stop on its own. It knows when it needs to stop. Once you have it unfolded, hit the down position. It'll switch to the next deployment and bring it all the way down to the ground. And no, we can't speed that up. Now there's a couple safety mechanisms on this lift. The first thing right here, this is your front barrier. Then you have what they call the inboard barrier. These barriers are designed to ensure that once you have somebody on the lift, that it's not pushing on that barrier or that safety latch hasn't come up. As you try to bring somebody up, if for any reason either one of these barriers aren't in place, it's going to stop the lift operation within about 4 seconds until it sees that switch again. Next thing that we'll go through then is just getting somebody on the lift. So when you bring somebody on the lift, you'll want to make sure that we have the weight more centered. When you bring the wheelchair on, you want to make sure that you're kind of just right in line with this center line, okay? This is going to basically keep the weight evenly distributed because there are sensors in this lift that if it starts kiltering too much, it'll stop. So it's important that, when we have somebody on the lift, that for no reason are they over to one side, or you have anybody riding up on the corner like this while they're going up. When you bring the person on, they always want you to come on this way. Back them in, and then you have basically a safety belt here to help kind of keep them in place, let them use the handles, and help steady themselves. Sure. Okay? In the event that you have somebody that's going to ride up with them, they can stand behind in this position to where they're with the wheelchair. Be careful that they don't put any pressure on this outer barrier or this inner barrier, because there is a sensor in there too. If it's pushed too hard, it will snap the tab on the sensor, and then that causes the lift to stop operation. The seatbelt doesn't have to be buckled for it to go, but if you have somebody on here, it's good practice to make sure that you do. All right, now we've gotten all the way up. The platform came down for us here. And once you have the individual in here, this is going to be your wheelchair position right here, okay? These are what's going to secure your wheelchair. These are the retractable straps. You have 2 for the back, 2 for the front. The person's always going to be forward facing, okay? And these are self-retracting straps. So the nice thing is that hit the red button, hook it on, it'll eat up the slack for you. Okay. As you're driving, if you stop, you might hear just a little bit of a click as the weight shifts. It's going to just make it a little bit tighter. So you don't have to worry about somebody, not securing it tight enough or anything else like that. It makes it very user-friendly for that reason. These straps are going to be a little bit more narrow in the back, and you're going to go wider in the front. So when it's holding the wheelchair, it's going to have more of a wider stance to hold that front stability, but in the back, it's going to be holding nice and straight for maximum strength. Okay? Then on top of the use of the retractors, you're also going to have your seat belt. Okay? This seat belt becomes a very easy 3-point seat belt by connecting to the floor right here. And that basically makes your chest and lap belt. So then this is your basically receiver buckle. Tightens and loosens just the same as any other belt. You'll utilize this one to hook right on the back. With the person facing forward then, this will encompass their 3-point harness. The next thing you have here is your folding, double folding seat. These are pretty easy to operate. They've got just a latch basically down here that you utilize, comes right down. Lever on the side brings it right up. Seat belts are integrated already. Got it. Again, use the lever on the side to fold it down. And your latch is right where you see my hand is. Okay. It's got a gas strut that helps it assist up. And that is all for that. When the belts aren't in use, it's always good practice to just keep them out of the way. Reason being is that if they get ran over by wheelchairs, they can fray, and then they're no good if they fray. For the next thing I want to show you real quick, I'd actually like for you to just come inside because I want to show you the backup system on the lift. So in the event of a power failure, if the vehicle didn't have any power for this lift and you had somebody in here that you needed to get them off of here, it's got a very simple system. Works just like a car jack. Sits right in there, and it manually will pump the lift. Down here, with the instructions, a small rotation, and it'll back to gravity feed itself down. If there ever is an issue where you have to use this, this is only to get people off the lift, never to bring people back on. The way that the backup system is designed is it's not designed to be pumped to lift at the weight capacity. There's also an alarm here, so if this is ever off and somebody steps on it, it'll give an audible tone letting them know that they're getting to the edge of the lift.